The Brat is what's popping, and they did give us an update on their baby and, of course, their IVF process and journey. And they went on and say that her and her wife, her name is Vanessa, they chose a white sperm donor because the only black donor presented to them looked like Jiminy Cricket. You know what Jiminy Cricket is? Jiminy Cricket is the cricket from Pinocchio. Have you watched Pinocchio? Yes, they say that he looked like that. And the Brat and her wife said that they didn't have, a lot to choose from potential black donors. And they go on to say that once they ruled out some of the genetic screening and whatnot, they were left with about 300 potential donors, and there was only one black donor. And when they saw a picture of the donor, they were like, no, this is not going to be the person. So they went on to choose a white sperm donor. So their baby is going to be biracial.
Well, first of all, I don't know if that's a particularly good idea. Because, there are issues of raising biracial children. And I know a lot of biracial kids, they do suffer from an identity crisis. And I'm not even being mean in saying that. It's like if your father is one race and your race is another, what's going to happen is you're going to feel homeless. You're going to feel like you don't belong in any community. If you're, let's say, among your mother's family and your mother is white, let's say, to them, you're black. Right? And you are going to experience as a black person challenges that they can't speak to or relate to. You're going to tell them your experiences, maybe with police or something, and they won't even know how to answer you because they're not familiar with that life or those experiences. Meanwhile, if you instead go spend time with your father's family and let's say they're black, Africans. Okay, so you're gonna go there and everyone's just saying Muzungu, 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 Muzungu.
Yeah.
So you're a foreigner everywhere you go.
I think it depends on. An identity crisis comes in when you have a distinct, different look from the rest of your family on your father's side and your mom's side, and if you don't look like any of them, I think that is where it comes in. But if you look like one side of the family more, I think biracial children tend to lean towards that place. I think it comes down to just physical appearance, because a lot, even us here, in regard to tribes and whatnot, you find that sometimes you look like neither, and you look like a distant, relative or somebody in your family tree, and you look nothing like where you come from.
Now that you're bringing this up, and you have talked about this.
Yes, I have.
With your own circumstances, where you are considerably lighter skinned than members of your family.
Yes, I am.
Because you're from northern Uganda, and typically they're dark like me.
Yes, they are.
And most of your family, they're dark like me, whereas you present as a more light skinned person.
Completely different.
Which I'm sure has its own fair share of challenges. You stick out, people treat you differently.
That's true.
Make assumptions about you.
That's true.
That
and
you might not appreciate.
And you find yourself having to defend yourself and defending your heritage and your culture.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Haven't you felt sometimes that, I wish I was just like everyone else, so that I don't have to explain myself 1,000 times?
Exactly. I have, and I still feel that way.
So you can see,
feel that way
so that
a lot.
if you have the choice, wouldn't you rather that your child is of your race? Isn't it easier for the child and easier for you to be its parent?
But you see, you can't choose that.
You can't.
You can't. You really cannot.
You can.
See, this is
in this case, they went to a sperm bank and specifically chose.
No, they chose the white sperm donor because the one black person who was there
was ugly.
Was not. They were concerned. They were concerned about what this person looked like and the genetic makeup of this person. But it also goes on to say, because I did some research and it did say that this was a report conducted by CBS News, and it analyzed that numbers at 4 major U.S. cryobanks where sperm is donated, and they found that 53% of available sperm is from white donors, while less than 4% is from black donors. And they also go on to say that from a total of 1,747 donors, they identified that there were more They found that non-Hispanics, white, Caucasian, Asians, Hispanic, and Black Americans represented about 70%, while 16%, 6%, and 4% of all other donors respectively. that means black people, again at the 4%, shows black people do not like to donate their sperms. I think they like to shoot them up in women.
Freely.
That's why there are more single black women in the United States than any other race. And you know what's crazy? Somebody in the comments actually even made that point. Okay, so let me read for you some of the reactions. But let me first start with this one. This person said, I'll say this again because I know a lot of people have no knowledge of the fertility journey and she goes on to say, to be clear for all those that are not aware of the many things we weren't aware of, here it is. Black men make up less than 5% of the donation pool. Furthermore, with genetic testing, this is specifically for looking into diseases that humans carry and inputting my statistics. Another person goes on to say, the baby could have still come out cute with one cute parent. You guys just wanted a mixed baby.
Yeah, and
yeah.
You know, I saw Black Twitter, or at least I saw one prominent foundational Black American activist. It's called Tariq Nasheed. Very interesting guy. Annoying but interesting. I follow him on Twitter, and he was just expressing shock at this announcement, because you have to understand that to some Black Americans, this sort of reeks of an inferiority complex. To some, the way some interpret it is, oh, so black wasn't good enough, so you went for white. This is how some people are treating this information. You know, at a time when blacks are trying to be more conscientious and sort of connect with their identity, to have someone of such prominence opt to be impregnated by a white sperm, it's sort of, do you see what I'm saying? How it can come off to some people like, oh, so we ain't good enough, so you had to go with the white. In other words, she's being accused of being a traitor to her race.
No, that is a them problem. She's
like Samuel Jackson in Django Unchained.
That is a them problem, because she went on to explain that they, narrowed it down to 300 donors and there was only one black person. They wanted a black donor, but the one black donor who they saw they had concerns about his, his genes, genetic makeup, and all that disease, family disease kind of history and stuff like that. They did not get that, so they settled for the white sperm donor. That sounds like,
to some, that would sound like an excuse. How convenient that you couldn't find a black
But
sperm
even
donor.
the statistics say that less than 4% of black men, donate their sperms.
So
and here is this comment.
Did they have to go to a sperm bank? Couldn't they have found Pookie and Ray Ray in the neighborhood and had a baby with him?
Why?
He would have been happy to surrender his paternal rights, as you know is the case with a lot of those guys.
No, you see, the thing about donating, exactly, and that becomes an issue. What if the person goes back on that agreement and then they say that, you know what, I signed under duress, now I want child support, I want to be a part of the child's family. They don't need that. So of course they have to, skip all that mess, because some people can just become opportunistic, and they had to go through, of course, a fertility clinic. But here is that comment that I was talking about. This man says, there isn't a lack of black donors because we are putting it where God intended us to put it, in our beautiful black women. Yes, and you're just taking up the whole, rate of black single mothers. Take care of your kids as well while you're shooting it up them, okay? Do that.
So
How about you do that too?
Has she conceived?
Not yet. She's still pregnant.
Okay.
We're not sure of the due date yet, but I'm waiting to see what the baby looks like. And it's a baby, I guess. And they, made this decision knowingly. I'm sure they consulted lawyers and experts on the situation.
Meanwhile, they're both chicks, but let's put that aside for now.
That has nothing to do with the situation. They wanted the child. They are both very capable of taking care of the child, and it also helps that the other partner, Vanessa, is a mother of 3 children, her biological children. And
are those children
story,
black?
Yes, they are. And she did say that if her and Brat were going to have kids, then she wanted Brat to have the experience of experiencing motherhood. Yeah. And that's that. So I wish them luck, and we can't wait to see the baby. I'm curious to know if it's going to be a girl or a boy, though.
It's functified.